fucking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round 2 recap for this week's FedEx St. Jude Championship, leg 1 of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Joining me to break it all down, Mark Immelman is here. Mark, good to see you.
Good to see you, Rick. Good to be with you. Yeah, it's been fun so far. It's been a fun broadcast. I'm back with PGA Tour Live, and there's been some good golf. I tell you what, the feature groups that we've had have been megawatts. So it's been good fun.
Yeah, it has been good fun, and a lot of the damage done on the golf course was done this morning. So a little bit of a top-heavy show here, but let's jump right into it. There were not one, not two, but 3 different 63s on the day, Mark. That was the round of the day. Let's start with the one that was probably the most needed, and that was Viktor Hovland's 63. Just one blemish on the card. That was a bogey on the par 4 fifth. He turned in 30 despite that bogey, Mark, and him posting 7 under through 2 rounds moves him up into a tie for 6th, which is critical because remember, our defending FedEx Cup champ, Viktor Hovland, started this week 57th in the standings, now currently 41st.
Yeah, and who would have known? I mean, if you had talked to Viktor before the time, you would have sworn that he didn't know where the thing was going. But he and Joe Mayo have been doing a lot of work on the range before the event, certainly during the events. And today's round was, I don't think he was at his very best tee to green, but he putted the lights out of the thing. I think the last time I checked, he had taken 21 putts through 18 holes or maybe something ridiculously sick like that. But it's good to see because, it's not how you do it. It's how much you shoot when it's in a situation like this. In any other team, in a playoff, you find a way to get through, right? You survive and advance kind of deal. And last year when Viktor was just banner and he won the BMW, then won the Tour Championship, he wasn't hitting that patented fade of his. The ball was turning from right to left, but he just played it. He was playing well. And then the whole thing goes about where then he dominates in the Ryder Cup and the Europeans win. Then he goes about trying to build that fade shot back in the new part of the year. And so that's when the whole thing kind of went haywire for a while, and he was bouncing between golf instructors and stuff. But that whole story could be moot by week's end if he keeps doing what he's doing, which is the cool thing about the playoffs. I mean, a brief chat with Rory McIlroy, he was like, you know what, the whole thing, you can kind of reset your season if you play well, you're in the playoffs because there's such a big prize and it means so much. So for Hovland, this was a welcome sight. And I'm just keen to see how he builds on this as we go into the weekend.
Yeah, get hot for 12 rounds and make up for essentially 12 months for some of these guys. That was one of the 63. Sam Burns shot another of the 63s. That moves him up to solo third, 10 under par. This was a round that moved him from 29th in the FedEx Cup standings before the tournament started to currently 10th. And Mark, he was just on fire early. Birdies on 2, 4, 6, and 9 while eagling number 3. He turned in 29. So Sam Burns flashed a lot of that firepower that he has very early on this day, early in his round.
Yeah, the front side was giving it up. Of the 2 9s around Southwind, I would say the front will give you a few more opportunities. But that being said, morning guys, and he was out in the morning, there was, from all the humidity, been a lot of dew on the greens. So I saw balls in the early coverage really digging in. And so guys were kind of playing darts with some of these hole locations out there. And the hole locations to me today were a whisker easier than what they were in round 1. Round 1, if memory serves me, I counted 11 holes, maybe 12, that were within 4 or 3 paces from the edge of the green. Today, they softened some. The greens were still soft, so you could get it. But to Sam, I mean, he had a brief conversation with our Golf Channel on the Range show Wednesday, and he said, he's been working hard and he found a feeling. And it's amazing how a professional golfer on the PGA Tour goes, I found a feeling. And you can kind of go, well, let's call Vegas because there's something good over here. And he turned it into a really good score. But it's been a strange season for Sam because, he's sort of there and thereabouts, and then he disappears for a bit. I know there's a new baby in the house, and that changes stuff. But he's the kind of guy who you would expect to be a fixture at Eastlake and certainly a fixture winning tournaments. He played the Tour Championship last year, and he's got the kind of game to really jive for that sort of place. So this is good stuff for Burns as well on a golf course that I feel like around here, I love guys from the South. He's from Louisiana. I mean, I think Bermuda grass was invented down there. And so this should really fit. And for someone down from, the bayou, basically, he's used to the conditions too, which are oppressive. So if there's someone I've kind of got my eye on right now, except for Scottie, naturally, I think it's Sam Burns.
Well, he is one shot off the lead. There are two men in at 11 under par. We're going to talk about Denny McCarthy first, Mark, because he was the third guy who shot 63 today, and he did it with two bogeys on the card. So he was certainly rolling the rock. He was making a lot of birdies along the way. I've been arguing that the golf gods owe Denny one. After the battle with Akshay Patia in Texas, coming out on the wrong end of that one, this might be a little revenge that Denny can get this week.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Golf's a strange thing that way, where stuff eventually evens out if you care to look at it that way. But for McCarthy, it's just been a guy. Whenever I've seen him, like last week at the Wyndham, I bumped into him in our hotel, and he's just been grinding, working really hard. He's had his coach out a little bit, just tinkering on the golf swing a little bit. And again, earlier this week, he was working very, very hard, got his coach in again. So apparently the work last week was not completely there. So some work on the range paid off, because today was incredible. He hit the ball into position, but he looked like on the greens, it was just aim, pull the trigger, and go and get the ball out the hole. He had the pace of the greens dialed. Look, these greens are immaculate. And if you hit your lines, if you miss from 8 feet, it's user error most times. And he hit his lines. He was seeing the lines well. And it was unreal. I mean, he made a number of those mid-range kind of putts. And everyone speaks of Denny going, well, he's such a great putter. Yeah, look, I think from mid-range, like at 15 to 25-foot range, Denny's kind of like a three-point shooter. And when he starts feeling it, man, he knocks those things in from all over the park. So he was doing that this morning, and you can kind of see, because he's sort of that guy that punches above his weight, if that makes sense. And he's not afraid of the battle. And it looked to me like he grew a whole lot of confidence after that round this morning, because he's that sort of a guy. So I feel like Denny kind of kicks this thing on if he keeps hitting the ball well.
66-63 for Denny to open up, and that's the same total, 129, as Hideki Matsuyama, who goes 65-64. And Mark, Hideki is heating up. He's got the bronze medal at the Olympics. He's been starting to play better as summer has turned to fall, and now he's doing it again. He's putting the lights out. He's leading the field in strokes gained putting, and anytime you do that and you're Hideki Matsuyama, it's going to be a danger for the rest of the field.
Yeah, new putter in the bag too, or a different style putter. It's not necessarily new, but it looks comfortable. Ordinarily you always see him when he's over the ball, especially with a blade. He's kind of fiddling around with posture, but he's getting in there. He's comfortable. The blade's in position, and he's playing with undue delay, what I'd call it. So it looks like he's convinced about what he's doing. And he's then just playing with a whole lot of confidence. I mean, the truth of it all is, bar a few holes at the Olympic Games, he may have had something a little better than bronze medal because of the way he was playing. So you're right. There's been a number of good finishes on tour, the game's trending in a good way. And he comes here to a place where it's sort of the golf course suits his skill set. If you drive it in the fairway, you can play. He's a great iron player. If there's ever a weakness with Hideki, it's that he just does not convert. And he looks so comfy on the greens right now. And again, it's not just making putts for me. It's the fact, like, if you watch the routine, it's a lot less labored. And he looks a lot more like, okay, I'm seeing the line. I'm hitting my lines. Let's go ahead and free this thing up, which he's doing. It turned into 64 this morning.
Yeah, it's beautiful when he gets things going. And that's exactly what he did and has done more often recently. Now let's zoom out a little bit. So Denny and Hideki 11 under par. That's the top. That's the lead. Sam Burns by himself at 10 under. Scottie Scheffler alone at 9 under. That is 2 shots off the pace after opening up 66-65. He has made 1 bogey this week, Mark. That was yesterday. The 65 that he shot today was bogey free, and he ended it in a flurry. Birdies on 15, 16, 17, par on 18 to make dinner taste just a little bit better.
Come on, man. Who are we kidding? Dinner tastes good every night of the week for Scottie Scheffler. Look, in Marquee Group's coverage on PGA Tour Live, ESPN+. Yesterday morning, we had McIlroy and Colin Morikawa. In the afternoon, we had Xander and Scottie. This morning, we had Scottie and Xander. And this afternoon, we had Rory and Colin. So it's like have a day, you know. It's the 4 best players on the FedEx Cup rankings coming in, and 4 of the 6 best players in the world. 3 of the 5 best players, whatever that was. And of all of them, like yesterday morning's round, you saw Rory had it for a while and was a little sort of ragged, finished in a flurry for 2 under. Colin really didn't strike the ball very well, ground out 2 under. Xander looked great. Scottie just cruised. You know, there was nothing really special. I don't feel like he was at his best. And cobbled together, 4 under, I think it was, with a bogey. And then this morning he comes out and it's just hit the ball in the right place, never looking like stressed or panicked or anything like that. And this round of 65, it almost seemed inevitable because he just was in position all of the time and putts were around the hole and he didn't get frustrated. And it just looked like a guy to me, Rick, who was like, over 4 rounds, he believes in his soul, it looks like, that over 4 rounds, no one can hang. And there's no need to make rash decisions. There's no need to attack when you don't need to. If he's hitting the ball in the right spot all the time, wide side of the target often, and he knows he's going to pick off a few, and he did towards the end. I'm somewhat surprised he didn't make the 15-footer on the last hole for 64 because it was uphill right to left. But I said twice to my colleague Taylor Zarzer, and I'm like, yep, objects in the rear view are closer than they appear. And like every hole, it just seemed like he was getting closer and gaining a bit more momentum. And the guy, I hate to say this because we're only 2 rounds in, and I'm not drinking Kool-Aid or anything here. But it seems inevitable that this guy's going to win. And that's with love to everyone else in the leaderboard, including Xander, who's playing some super golf right now. But Scottie is just like, he's just cruising. And he's cruising is enough because he knows at some stage he's going to do like he did in the final round there, the final 9 holes even, in Paris for the gold medal in the Olympics, because he just knows it's likely to happen. Simple as that.
He is golf's best marathon runner. Might not get you after 18, might not get you after 36, 54, who knows? 72, yeah, he's got you there.
That's a great analogy. You know what? Because I've played a lot of tournament golf, and there were always these players. Like when I was a junior in South Africa, there were these 2 dudes. One's name was Retief Goosen. He's ended up in the Hall of Fame. And the other's name was Ernie Els, all right? And Ernie was that guy. It doesn't matter how far in front of him you were. You knew. I mean, you weren't going to beat the guy unless he fell over, unless he broke his shin or something. And you know, the truth about Scottie is that everybody in the locker room kind of knows the same thing. You're in front of him and you're just like waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. And then you're hoping you've got enough in the closing kick to just somehow hold him off. You know, hopefully you run out of holes or something like that. Because he is just so cerebral, so poised. And then, of course, he hits the ball great on top of all of those 2 assets. And it's just, it seems like he's invincible. That's the truth of it.
He is putting together a historic season and could add to that this week, maybe next week, and possibly the week after. That was the vast majority of the action. A lot of the guys went out early at the top of the leaderboard, but there were a couple of noteworthy names that made a move later in the day. We're going to get to those guys, look at the betting odds, and see what's going on for the weekend. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
There are some things in life that you can't quite explain.
An extraordinary story.
Maybe it sounds flawless, looks effortless, or makes you feel like a part of history.
The first ever goal for BFC.
And when all of those phenomenons come together, it's perfect. Pitch perfect.
And we're back. So, Mark, this is the game within the game. Top 50 move on to the BMW Championship. Top 30 in 2 weeks will be at Eastlake. Tom Kim opened up with a 1/71. Not great for his chances of making a deep playoff run. However, a little bit of a revival today. A 6 under 64. It was bogey free. He birdied his first 3 holes of the day, and then 11, 12, and 16. As of right now, he has moved up 47 spots on the Memphis leaderboard, and he has moved up 7 spots on the FedEx Cup standing. So he's currently 36th. So kind of getting cozy in that top 50 and a chance to make a run at the top 30.
The way he's been playing, I don't know the numbers really, but because I'm kind of immersed in the thing the whole week, and I don't see it maybe from the 36,000 foot view. But the Tom Kim that I encounter week in and week out, whenever he's playing, it looks like he's very comfortable with where the game is, and he's beginning to play really, really well. And, you know, everyone's going to have a bad day. The thing about the bad day, especially around a place like TPC Southwind, is you've just got to make sure it doesn't get really bad. You just got to keep yourself somewhat relevant. And he did that in round 1 without his best stuff. But you know that he knows so well what he's been doing in the game that it's kind of an easy fix, if that makes sense. It's like the bad day is an outlier, but you're not like scratching and clawing and reaching for straws to try and figure out what the problem is. So you just go and iron it out. He had an early morning time and then played later this afternoon, I think it was. But you knew the game was going to come around. And so with that all being said, I don't think he's that concerned, or he shouldn't be, with making it into 50. If I was him right now, I'd be like, let's keep doing this, because if I continue to play well, I can get inside the top 30 and then make the next hurdle, the one at the end of the BMW Championship, a whole lot easier. So not that you put the cart in front of the horse or you get too far ahead of yourself, because you still got to go and play. Tomorrow's a round of golf. You've got to do your thing 67 times, whatever it is. If he just keeps playing like he's been playing, and he keeps swinging like he's been swinging, because he's a marvelous putter, I feel like he's going to be okay. And he actually needs to start just keep building and building and building. So the job to get to Eastlake is not as big as what it could be if he's just trying to sneak in here from Memphis.
Yeah. Playing well every day takes care of all the goals that you might have. So he is on the move, and so is Billy Horschel. Mark, Billy Horschel is on a run right now. He already won this year, won an opposite field event earlier this year, finishes runner-up at the Open. He had another top 10 at the Wyndham Championship, and now he goes out and shoots a 65 here in the second round of the FedEx St. Jude Championship. And he did a little bit differently than basically anybody, Mark. He birdied not only the last 3 holes, 16, 17, and 18, he birdied 13, and he was actually a shot better on the second 9, 32, than he was on the front 9, 33. So that's not a scorecard that we have seen frequently this week.
Man, but Billy, again, just like Tom Kim, you can see the confidence building. Last week at the Wyndham Championship, I hadn't talked to you guys since then, and I was on the call for that group. It was him and Aaron and Rye and Cameron Young in the final, what do we have? Final 3 rounds or whatever it was on one day.
Yeah.
And Billy was in there, and you could see he was playing well, and you could see he was into it, and you could see he was, you know, stereotypically Billy. He was like animated, he was grinding, he was playing hard, and he was playing well. And I looked at him on the one hole. I'm like, man, you're swinging well. And you could see like the sparkle in his eye. And he's like, yeah, you know, I know I'm playing well. And then I think Aaron Rye made a birdie somewhere or whatever the case might be, or maybe Billy made a bogey. And I think Billy kind of realized, okay, I'm not winning this thing, but this guy next to me could. And all of a sudden, Billy became Aaron Rye's hype guy. And I remember watching this going, how selfless is this for one of the ultimate competitors on tour? Because if Billy will put his heart on the line for 50 cents against you. He's that sort of a guy. And I mean, he is absolutely doing everything he can coming down the stretch there to help Aaron to win without cheating, naturally. And then on 17, I still laugh about it. He and Rye hit it in the same place on the green. They've both got like 20 feet left to right, and Billy is just inside of Aaron. And he hits the putt first. It misses just a little low. So Rye hits his putt and misses it, a foot high, and it goes past the hole. And we walk from 17 green to 18 tee, and Billy almost runs up to me. And he goes, I can't believe he missed it that high. I mean, I showed the guy the line. And he's like frustrated about this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to say to the guy. And then he goes, and you can see the lips are pursed, and this is ultimate Billy Horschel. He's not winning, but he's competing. Right. And so I said to him, oh, by the way, Grayson just 4-putted 16. And Billy goes, and he flashes, he looks at me like this. He goes, serious? And he goes, and I go, yeah. And he goes, I'm not going to tell him. I'm like, well, that'd be a good thing. So we get on the tee, and there's a wait, and Billy gets there, and then there's a wait, and he goes, no, and he's frustrated because his guy, Aaron Rye, has to go and finish, right? And Aaron walks on the tee, and he's all softly spoken and doesn't say a word. And Horschel comes walking over to me, and he goes, I haven't told him anything. I'm like, what? But anyway, so I recount the story to say that good things, I believe, come to good people. And the way he was there alongside Aaron coming in was heartening for me because, like I say, Billy is a pure competitor. This guy is always, if there's a bar to get over, he's going to find a way. And I think with all that being said, the way the game is going right now, there's a bar to get over. And for him, that bar is Eastlake, where he hasn't been since he won the thing, I believe it is, many moons ago. And you could almost sense it in him. And if I was a betting man, I'd bet money on the fact that he's going just because of where the head space is. And, add to that then the way he's playing, because you can see he's like 100%. He is in 1,000% right now.
2014 is when Billy Horschel won the FedEx Cup playoffs. He's currently 18th in the standings this time around. I always thought that the energy that Billy Horschel and Keegan Bradley bring, if they were ever in a playoff against each other, a black hole would open up somewhere, and we would all just be sucked into it.
You're right. I'm feeling you there.
Billy Horschel in at 7 under par, T7. Tom Kim at T13, 5 under. I imagine when Josh shows us the betting odds here. Go ahead, Mark.
Wait a sec. So Billy is he projected 18th or is he 18th?
He's projected 18th. He started 23rd.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So all right, that sounds a bit more like it because I'm like, this guy's going to do everything he can to make it to Eastlake.
Yes, yeah, projected 18th at the moment. I imagine when Josh shows us these betting odds, they are going to show Scottie Scheffler at the top in some number that is getting increasingly shorter by the moment. Yes, there it is. Plus 180 for Scottie Scheffler, who is 2 shots off the lead to win the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Hideki Matsuyama currently at the top. 280 plus 280. That's 2.8 to 1. Sam Burns, who are we going to get? Oh, they're playing in threes tomorrow. So we are going to get we're not going to get a Scottie Scheffler, Sam Burns pairing, are we?
No, we got word later. It wasn't confirmed yet, but there is pending weather tomorrow afternoon. So it's like, I believe it's threes off 2 tees tomorrow between
that's right.
10 a.m. and 11:40 tee times or something like that.
Yeah, so I thought we were going to get a Burns Scheffler group. We will not unless Nick Dunlap does something crazy over his final 2. Denny McCarthy, 8 to 1 to win. And then there's a gap, Mark. 22 to 1 is the next shortest odds. That's Viktor Hovland, Xander Schauffele, Billy Horschel, Justin Rose are in the mix. So the way that Vegas is starting the weekend here, it is mostly about Scottie, Hideki, Sam Burns, and Denny McCarthy.
Yeah, I think you've got to be Kyle Porter to put money on Scheffler. Kyle would do that sort of bets. Even though I'm almost convinced that he's going to win, if I was shedding money on this thing, I wouldn't want to lay odds on that. If there's an enterprising name to me there, it's almost Xander Schauffele at that number there. Because it's not like he's at his best, because I've watched him play 36 holes right now. He's putting, he's rolling it beautifully. And bar the misstep on 12 today, we hit in the water and then made double bogey. It was really a pretty good day. If he makes par there, I think maybe he's 7 or 8 under or something like that. So Xander is not that far away. So I think at 2,500 plus 2,500, it's a good deal. Because I don't know how the tee times are going to work, but perhaps with a U draw, he gets off 10 tomorrow morning. And if this is the case now, I don't know this, so people listening to me, I'm just prognosticating. This is no forecast. If he gets to tee off the backside first, you get that out the way in a few under, then you turn to the front a little mojo, you can do something special. So look, the Scottie's the favorite. You've got to beat him. But Xander at 2,500, I think it wouldn't be worth a bit of a flirt over there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of juice left to squeeze out of the game of Xander Schauffele right now. Made a couple of, not silly mistakes, but, inflated his score in a way that we don't usually see from Xander. Well, I know one thing for sure, Mark, that however round 3 and round 4 end, we will be here to break it all down. I can say that for sure. That's the lock of the century. Take it to the bank. I want to say big thanks to producer Josh, does all the hard work behind the scenes. Thanks to Mark Immelman. You can find him at Mark_Immelman, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.